at a fairly early age?
Well, when I was about 12 or 13, often at night, for a period of about 6 months, I would have an experience of, it happened in two different ways. Either my body would dissolve when I was lying in bed at night, more than just losing, a sense of being embodied. I thought I was losing the connection
so like you're
with my body,
disappearing.
like I was disappearing. And I thought, I have to keep myself awake to be here, otherwise I might disappear and not come back. So it would either happen through a feeling that my body was disappearing, going into a point, so rather than being however big it was all contracting into one point, into nothing. Or it would just get vast. It's like it would just spread out, but again lose its differentiation, just become homogeneous, like the universe. And I think they inspired me to try to work out what was going on, because this was a very, like a discrete, palpable experience, some change in consciousness. So at the library at school, I found the Christian mysticism section, and that got some books from the Christian mystics. And whilst the theism didn't speak to me, I thought, okay, something's going on internally for these mystics that's very profound. So that gave me comfort that what was happening, I didn't really know if it was the same or if it was different, but it was a similar type of process that seemed to be happening for Christian mystics.
Right. So it gave you some light on what could have been happening for you, and it triggered a wider exploration, didn't it? A wider adventure.
Yeah, I thought, okay, this does happen. These things do happen. There is an interior process. I think that's the primary thing that happened. That, okay, there's a process of interiorization in which consciousness, our experience of who we are, our experience of being embodied, our relationship with the self and with the outside world can be fundamentally different from how it is in everyday consciousness.
Right. And then you started to look at meditation, explore meditation.
Yes. Yes.
So how did that first start? What was the first type of meditation you came across?
The first meditation I did was inspired by Karl Durkheim, the German who got involved in Zen in Japan and brought it back to Europe. So that was really a wonderful experience, sitting, meditating. When I first did it, I really didn't know that there were people currently in Australia and worldwide, particularly in the West, who were meditating. I bought a book, I read it and followed the instructions, and I thought, well, this is great, but are other people doing this?
So you're doing this on your own?
Yes, it still felt a very solo, solitary exercise. Then I quickly realized that there was a Theravada Buddhist community in Melbourne. And then I went to their events, their group meditations, and that was wonderful to see that there were many, many people, 20, 30 people every Saturday meditating. So that gave me a great sense of community, that there were people in my own country who were exploring how to achieve tranquility.
And so how is the experience of meditation different from the drug experience? Because in a way you were searching for bliss again through the meditation.
Well, I think with meditation, you're creating a context in which what you're experiencing is being viewed in the totality of your life. And you're saying, okay, so what I'm looking to do is to really create a foundation for myself in which I can constructively evolve my consciousness. So if I'm experiencing tranquility in meditation, if I'm gaining some insight, then I want to be able to see this in the context of a path. So how do I live my life? How do I behave how do I communicate so that I can be creating the conditions that predispose me to be able to follow the path in a fruitful, constructive way.
And I think then you gave up. Didn't you go to a meditation retreat and give up smoking? You were smoking, I think, 60 cigarettes a day, which is a very heavy addiction again. And in one retreat, you're able to give it up, which is remarkable, really. Okay, you're taking that as a statement of fact. I just wondered. I was interested really in how that was. Was it just it went like that, the smoking, or was there actually something in you that was still wanting the cigarettes, and you were with your mind just not going to that place?
No. Well, in Buddhism, there's a process called taking refuge, and it happens at a particular moment in time. There's a small ceremony surrounding taking refuge. And refuge means I take refuge in the Buddha mind, in my own wisdom mind. I take refuge in the path, the process. I take refuge in the community. So the process of taking refuge, which was given to me by my root Lama, my root Guru, Lama Thubten Yeshe, it felt that in the moment of taking refuge, that it was, in a way, fundamentally severing something from the past, particularly my conditioning and habits and so on. So it was extremely easy to do. I thought that I had was being given a tremendous gift that produced, in some way, like a revolution in my consciousness through his transmission, through that act of taking refuge in the Buddha mind.
It seems like you also had a very clear understanding of the process at the time too, what was happening. And I think that's one of the things that is important. I know, again, from my experiences when I started meditation, there was a lot going on, and there wasn't necessarily the support system or the explanations for me to put into context so I could understand it and relax the mind. But it seems that you had that. You got pretty much straight away or very quickly what was going on with you and what needs to happen. Okay, I'm looking to you for a further answer, and you feel that part's complete. Okay, so and then you did something that is for me very, a huge step. You were married, and you decided to become a monk, and you you went to see. Do you want to tell the story that you tell in your notes that when you went to see the? It's a very interesting story that.
Yes, what happened is that I took refuge as I described to you, and then over the next year something evolved in me, and I thought, look, I really have to do this properly. I'm now on a particular path. I have a connection with an extremely wise and compassionate teacher. I want to do this thoroughly, as best I can. And the model that was being offered through Lama Yeshe and the organization that he founded was really emphasizing monasticism as being the most serious path, like fast-tracking in a way. So it just grew in me a need within me to explore monasticism, becoming a monk. But as you said, I was married. I had a daughter. And so it looked like I was creating something that was impossible in my mind, but I really didn't have any control over it. It was just evolving that I felt a need to become a monk, to take on that discipline, and yet here I was in a circumstance that was contradictory, that was inconsistent